Okay guys, I'm here today, AJ Agazarm, huge honor for me. Guys, AJ just shot an entire instruction all about how to avoid submissions in Jiu-Jitsu and how to escape from submissions. And if you watch his matches, he's one of the toughest guys to get a submission. And I think I'm the proof of that because I competed against him in one Pan Ams where I think I got submission pretty much every match. And I just didn't tap this guy. So, anyways, excited.
I was trying to fight everything. Like, yeah, it's through it so much. I think I learned at like 3 or 4 new submissions since you did that.
Just from that match.
Yeah.
I got it.
But yeah,
I was really trying like every possible angle.
No, I was trying my hardest to get out of everything, and the more I tried to get out of one thing, I just found myself in another thing. But the DVD is just to recognize a lot of common submissions that you're put in, and some just easy answer, easy protocol to escape it. Some of it, like, you may not even like recognize it. It's like, okay, well, if I simply just flip my wrist this way and I'm moving my body this way. One of the things that I go over, though, that I think is really important that we don't do a lot of in Jiu-Jitsu is the mobility, right?
Yep.
It's wild to me how intense we are on our joints and how intense we are on our body, but we don't dedicate a lot of time to
mobility.
To the mobility of our joints. Right?
Yep.
We know how to isolate them and pin them and manipulate them in a way that's going to cause the other person to tap out, but what are we doing to
prevent that, right? To even take more advantage of the mobility that we have.
And then even just understanding the mobility it helps you understand like what your range of motion is and where you can go with it and what when the submission's being implied. Yeah, and I think the shoulder joint is it's the most mobile joints in the body, right?
Yep.
And that that's one of the concentrations that you see a lot in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specifically is the armbar.
Yep.
Right, and the armbar is like when you have, we'll start in a traditional here, right? The guy has the hips isolated underneath my shoulder, and he has space between his hips and my elbow, right? Yep. The more space that he has with his hips and my elbow, the better that leverage for that armbar is going to be.
Yep.
Right? So if he only has, if you're shorter here on this side and you try to extend it, right, I'm going to have more range of motion.
Yep.
And then also you think about like his knees being pointed together, his toes being down, right, and manipulating the wrist. But there are a lot of things like just unwinding that process. So I get here to this position, and first thing I always want to do is I always want to get my elbow on the inside of your ankle just so that I can use it to push my leg on the inside, underneath it.
Okay.
Like this. Now I've already alleviated one of the biggest points of pressure for you, which is clamping your knees together.
Yep.
To isolate my shoulder.
Like this. Yep.
Right? And then go ahead, let go. I'm constantly trying to bring my elbow down, my shoulder down to the mat and away from you. Right, like this. So if I have that paired with getting, go ahead, clump your knees together. If I have that paired with bringing my knee in, pulling my elbow down,
yep,
maybe getting here, now I'm escaping the position. And so you can try to crank on it. Good, you try to crank. I get my knee underneath, I've already alleviated that pressure. Now what I'm doing is I'm bringing my shoulder to the ground to get either my other leg in front, or if I want, you could even try to extend it. If I break my arm open, if I release my hands, go ahead, try to extend it. I'm now pressing off that.
Oh, I got it. So I mean, like, you pretty much use these principles for every submission. You try to understand where is the mechanic that is causing the submission and try to break down that mechanic.
Yeah, understanding the mechanics of any submission are important, but then realizing where the pin is happening, right? Go down on the ground here, right? What's one of the most essential movements in all of Jiu-Jitsu?
Hip escape,
hip escape.
bridge.
What's the one thing you need to do hip escape?
Close my both elbows and move my hip.
Elbow, right? Elbow position on the mat. Your elbow on the mat, that's going to be the key to your hip escape. When I have that elbow isolated up top and my hips are underneath it,
I can't hip escape.
Right, you're going to be much more limited in your mobility for your hip escape. right? You tried to hip escape now, go ahead.
It's much harder.
All right, versus even just having it down there.
That makes sense.
Right? So when I'm here, and I have I like to isolate the armbar or the jujikatami or whatever you want to call it by the kimura trap. I'm trying to get his body perpendicular to the mat. Right? So as an attacker, I'm looking for perpendicularity. As a defender, he's looking to get his elbow on the mat so that he can hip escape.
Yep.
Right? So if I get here and I have the reverse, just go ahead. If you want to put your hands together, you can, but just work to get your elbow on the mat. That's it.
Yeah, because I was able to hip escape, but if you isolate my arm to the point that I can't hip escape, I would feel stuck, right?
Yeah, and that's really the fight.
I get it.
People are like, oh, your joints are. I'm like, it has nothing to do with my joint. What do they call it? Like your joint durability. It has nothing to do with my joint durability and just more of just basic understanding of joint mobility.
I get it.
Right? If another way I can look at it is if you have the armbar on me, and let's say I've only gotten my elbow as far down as I can get it, and I'm still frustrated, and you still have isolation here, your knees are still pinched together. Go ahead, pinch your knees together. Yeah. Right? And I've gotten it from here to here, but you're still isolated on my arm. Right? And let's say you even get extension, right? If you get extension on it, I can now shift from my shoulder to my elbow to my wrist, right? If he keeps my wrist up, it's going to be a better leverage point for him to get the break. So he goes knees together, hips down, hips up, and gets the break, right? Yep. If I turn just my wrist from my thumb being up to the sky to just turning this way,
it's harder.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
You're mechanically, you're no longer putting pressure on my elbow this way.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Which is going to pop that elbow joint. But if I turn my wrist this way, now I'm operating from the shoulder. So then I can just move my shoulder this way to get out.
Got it.
And you see a lot of times that that's just the hitchhiker, the normal hitchhiker. If that's harder. I'm here. If I got my arms close down to here as I could, and you still get extension, I'm still going this way with it.
Yep.
Right? And by going this way, I'm moving around my shoulder and giving you almost like the omoplata.
Yep.
So you feel that, and you transition to omoplata. Boom. And now I'm here. Right?
Yep.
And then what's the next defense I have to look out for? So if I'm going to defend the omoplata, right, I'm going to just continue the circle.
Good.
I'm here. Or you're going to finish. Go ahead, go for the omoplata, and then I give the arm and I give the triangle. Boom. Boom. Now my arm is free, and I'm stuck in the triangle position, right?
Yep.
So I think being crisp in a lot of these transitions when they go from armbar to omoplata is going to help you escape it, but also knowing, having answers for each one. So a lot of the times the people don't even realize the triangle defense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand from the omoplata and bring it right to the top part of the knee.
Good.
Right? So you want to get what to finish the triangle?
Lock it and pull your head now.
Right,
and maybe try to break this grip as well.
Right, you need to compress the blood in my head.
Yep.
By either this shoulder joint against my neck.
Yep.
Or an arm against my neck.
Yep.
Right, so if I know that that's what you need in order to get the triangle, I'm big back.
Got it.
Right, I'm big back. Now he's not compressing anything, and he's just basically tiring or holding himself out. Once he starts to maneuver in a way that's going to manipulate it, is where you try to bring your arm across, right?
Yep.
So maybe now I'm going to come here and bring your knee line to the ground. I have two hands on here, and I'm driving open his legs.
Good.
Sometimes I need to do it where I have the triangle here, and I can even use my knee between to bring more of a leverage.
Okay. Okay, so it almost like seems to me that you go from one submission to the other, but you are always thinking one step ahead than your opponent. So, for example, you left the armbar, you found the omoplata, but you already had the next escape from the omoplata. So, so you either get out 100% or you go to a new submission, but already with that step ahead of the opponent.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, I think it's nice to say one step. I think it's maybe like 15.
I got it. Because you were thinking like, no, that makes sense. No,
but I think one example would be I had a quarterfinal match in the ADCC that year. I took second. I had a quarterfinal match against Ethan Krelenston, and he was threatening the triangle so much, and honestly, I was more worried about it. But then the moment I felt him just make a slight maneuver, a slight adjustment with his hips to attack the armbar, I just had like a breath of like relief. I was like, oh, okay, great. Take my arm. Go for it, bud. Because
it would be easier to get out of the armbar than the triangle and the.
Like I said, the shoulder mobility is so much more. Like I have so much shoulder mobility. Right. It's the most mobile joint in the whole body. Right, and then just kind of working around those pins. I mean, you also have to like, one of the things I've been working on is studying like tapes of, your tape is just like, you're really good in your attacks and your finishes. So by studying the end game, just like, you do in chess, by studying the end game, you're able to kind of reverse it all backwards. And that's kind of the way I look at it.
No, and having a good submission escape is such a skill because, for example, there's nothing worse in one competition to go for a submission and lose it. Because now you're tired, your opponent is all excited and all energized and this and that. So,
but you can't win matches based on not getting submitted. You
gotta have something else as well. I agree with that. No, I agree. No, but anyways, guys, AJ shot an entire instruction all about submission escapes and prevention. So it's going to be at bjjfanatics.com very soon. Make sure to check it out. And thanks so much, AJ.
We went over all submissions, not just armbar. I think leg entanglements, some chokes, a lot of variability and escapes in the escapes there. So it's a really fun DVD. I've never talked about my escapes. I just let people on the internet say, oh, he's crazy. He just lets his limbs break. Okay, sure. But watching this DVD, you'll see that there's a real method and science behind it, and hope you guys enjoy.
There we go. Thank you. Thanks, AJ.
Thanks, Bernardo.
Thanks, guys.
Please help me out to grow my YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. And to watch more videos, just click under see more videos. I hope you enjoyed.
BJJFanatics.com. Use the promo code YouTube Faria to get 10% off any instructional video. Improve your jiu-jitsu faster.